Welcome to What Do I Read for Black History Month, the African American Resource Collections Readers Advisory Series for Black History Month. I am your host, Shukrani Gray, the African American Resource Collection, Equity and Inclusion Librarian for the New Orleans Public Library. Now, this series is going to happen every Friday in Black History Month at 6 p.m. But it's recorded on YouTube, so you can access it two different ways. You can go to the New Orleans Public Library website and go to the events page, and it will be there. There'll be a link for it. Or you could go to YouTube and go to the New Orleans Public Library YouTube page, and it will be there. So if you miss it on Fridays, you can catch it later. Yay! All right, now, so let me tell you how this is going to work. For the next 4 Fridays, we are going to meet here at 6, and I'm going to talk about everything books. I'm going to pick 4 books. There'll be audiobooks, there'll be ebooks, there will be fiction and nonfiction, there will be adult books, children's books, teen books. So we're going to get a lot of different views of Black History Month, or I should say of Black history. There you go. Okay, so we're going to start with the African American Resource Collection today. I picked a book called The Invisible Line by Daniel J. Sharfstein. There it is. Now, this book is about 3 American families and their secret journey from Black to white. Now, I picked this book because I am from Chicago. And so the migration story of African Americans from the South to the North and from the South to the West is really interesting to me. But now that I'm living here in New Orleans, I've heard the term poisson blanc, which means Black people who live as white people. And I find that very interesting, but I don't hear a lot about it. So this story really got me excited. So it follows these 3 families, the Gibsons, the Spencers, and the Walls. And it shows us all about how they navigated the racial lines back in the 18th century, and it carries us up to the 20th century. So I'm really excited about this book. The call number for this book is 305, well, for the AARC, it is AARC 305.800,973 SHA. Now, this book can be found in the main branch, just in the regular nonfiction, or in the AARC section, which is located in the main branch on the first floor, and you can check the book out from either one. Now, this next thing is highlighting the Louisiana Division, which is our city archive and special collection located at the main branch. And I kind of want to talk about that because this book here, like, there's only 2 copies, right? So say you wanted to read that book and the copy is checked out, which is what happened with the next book I'm going to talk about. I wanted to bring it to you so I could show it to you, but it's checked out. So I said, hey, this is a good time for me to tell you about the Louisiana Division because they happen to have a second copy for reference at the Louisiana Division. Now, how does that work? What you do is you call them up and you say, hey, I want to see this book that you got on reserve, and you make an appointment. And you can look at the book, you can take notes from the book, you can make copies of certain pages of the book, but you cannot check the book out. So if you just want to look at the book and read it and do research, you can do that at the Louisiana Division. Now, they don't have all books, but they do have some. And here's an example of one. It's called The Showdown in Desire. The Black Panthers take a stand in New Orleans. Now, you know, just off the bat, why I had to pick that book. It's about New Orleans. Come on now. And it's about the Black Panther movement. So excited. I get excited about these books. So this book is located in the Louisiana Division. It is LOUR 322.42 A681S. But you could just call them with the title Showdown in Desire, and they'll let you make an appointment to come see it. Now, this book, oh my God, I was so excited because it talks about the Black Panthers here in New Orleans in the 1970s. And the time period that they focus on There was a shootout with the police at Piety Street. They created a survival program. The Black Panthers had a day-long standoff with the police in the Desire housing development as well. And they have all of these interviews that they base this book on. They interview people from the Black Panthers. They interview residents of the Desire projects. They interview some Black policemen. And they interview the mayor, Moon Landrieu, at that time. So this is an exciting book. Now, normally you could get it at the main branch, but it's checked out. So it's also at Ladder and it's at the Smith branch. So there are other places that you can get it. And if you are not near one of those branches, you can put it on hold and have it sent to your neighborhood branch. So this is great. Okay, so let's move on to, this is a Black History Month display. This book came from the team display, which was done by one of our employees named Andrew. So we thank him, yay, Andrew, for putting this display together. There were some really interesting books, but I like this one. It's called Turning 15 on the Road to Freedom, my story of the 1965 Selma Voting Rights March. Now, this is a story about Lynda Blackmon Lowery, who was the youngest person to participate in the Selma marches for voter rights in 1965. And what I really like about this book, now this is another book that I have not read, but I kind of looked through. It has pictures. Oh my God, I love the pictures. So, they have pictures to bring light to her story and what it was like to deal with the violence and the intimidation that the protesters went through to march through Selma. And so they went from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama in 1965. And she is really just talking about what it was like as a 15-year-old to go through all of that. Now, I think this is a wonderful way to talk about the civil rights movement with young people because it's through the eyes of a young person. So that is Turning 15 on the Road to Freedom. And this book is located, that's right. I got this from the Black History display at the main branch on the second floor in the children's department. Now, the last book we're going to talk about is one of my favorite books. It's called Hattiesburg. There we go. Hattiesburg, and it's written by William Sturkey. Now, the reason I absolutely love this book. I got this one from the main branch, but you can get it from Alvar, Hubbell, Mid-City, and Milton branches. Each one has a copy of this wonderful book. This book, it changed my life. I can't even front. This book changed my life. What it does, the author gives us the history of Hattiesburg, and he starts from post-slavery, right during the Jim Crow era, up into the present time. And he compares white Hattiesburg to Black Hattiesburg, and he analyzes how the things that happened in white Hattiesburg affected how the residents who were African American could prosper or not, how it affected their lives. Sometimes it caused their deaths, how it affected their finances and their ability to flourish. So this book helped me to understand the relations between African Americans and whites, not only in Hattiesburg, but in most southern cities, but also in Chicago, because it talked about the structural and social laws and traditions that either limited how Black people could move, that affected, what jobs they were able to get or not get, how the housing that they were able to so I was able to understand things like redlining or things like white flight or, having barriers to what jobs you could get. Like it really brought that in a light that I could understand. And I was able to read this book and compare it to my experiences and what I've known about, you know, living in Chicago, living in Milwaukee, living in other cities in the United States. It really clarifies. Sorry, that's the people outside my house. It really clarifies race relations and things that we see right now that we may not have understood. And it breaks down some of the stereotypes of, oh, they just don't have things because they don't try. No, there are some political things that happen, and this book breaks it right on down. So that is Hattiesburg. The call number is 305.80097 S935H. And you can call and give them the title. The author is William Sturkey. In case I did not say, Turning 15 on the Road to Freedom was written by Lynda Blackmon Lowery. So that's the author for this book. And I gave you, oh, no, I did not. The call number for that is YA 323.1196 L917T. And then the other book we had was the let me give you the exact title. It was The Showdown in Desire, The Black Panthers Take a Stand in New Orleans. And that is located in the main branch, Ladder and Smith, and also at the Louisiana Division. So visit them. And then the last but not least, come to the AARC and get The Invisible Line, written by Daniel Sharfstein. All right, that's our reader's advisory for today. I will see you next Friday at 6 or after if you're watching on YouTube. All right, and if you have any questions, call the main branch and ask for Shukrani Gray, the African American Resource Collection Librarian. All right, bye.